You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome to the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. I am Pete Fox. Of course, you can find us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, a place to hang out when every game is done. And you can listen on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Today's show brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive with all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. Well, a lot to be happy about after a sweep at Citi Field of the Mets in Queens. Dodgers hammered them today, a comfortable blowout win, and I think I like this team that is putting up runs in bunches in the eighth inning. Again, I'm Pete Fox, covering sports in LA, dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. And when this series is all said and done, I feel like the Dodgers have righted the ship. Now, I'm not going to say the Mets are a tough team to beat, but a win is a win. I don't think the Cincinnati Reds are a tough team to beat either, but the Dodgers couldn't do that. So to back up being swept with a sweep feels pretty good. The fact of the matter is that they had a lot of offense today, especially with 6 in the eighth inning. And, that's making up for some of the injuries that they're dealing with right now, like Max Muncy. Coming into this game, the Dodgers were 5 of 39 without Max Muncy in the lineup at third base. So whoever played third base because Muncy's been out has been 5 for 39. Now, Kike Hernandez had 2 hits today, so that takes it from 5 for 39 to 7 for 41, which is an improvement. So good job by Kike today. He was 2 for 3, got the average up to 205. And, when you look up and down the lineup, I think a little bit of everything was produced today. Some stuff a little surprising, like Mookie Betts going 0 for 4. And the bottom of the lineup producing 4 hits for Miguel Rojas and 1 for Miguel Vargas. So the Miggies had a nice day today. 2 runs scored by Vargas and 2 RBI. So, the top of the lineup doesn't always have to be the producer. Freddie Freeman, the only Dodger today to not get on base, which is unfortunate after the day he had yesterday with 6 hits over the doubleheader. It felt like, maybe he's found it again and he's going to break out and go on a nice little run. And then he comes out today and goes 0 for and is the only Dodger to not get on base. So that's kind of a bummer, but I don't think it affected him much. Hopefully he can, take what he found at this or in this series rather, and build on that when they return home. 5 hits over the 2 games yesterday, not 6 hits, and an 0 for 4 today. But all in all, I mean, a dominant win. And I just ran out of room on the Diamond Dogs list to put Dodgers on there because we generally do just the top 5 of the day. And, when the 8th inning rolled around, the Dodgers just went off. Miggy Rojas with an RBI single to left. Miguel Vargas with a 2 RBI bloop to right field. Shohei Ohtani, his first home run at Citi Field, a 2-run shot opposite field. 380 feet, his 14th of the season. That made it 6, 7, 8, 9, and then they put one more on in the 9th to make it 10-3 on a Jay Hay home run. So they just poured it on, and to a certain extent, you felt a little bad for the Mets. I don't know, that look that they showed on the face of Ottavino right after he gave up the home run to Shohei Ohtani. It was just one of pure sadness and frustration and depression. He was just so done at that point. Just like, come on, I just got in here. It was like his second or third pitch of the outing, and he gives up a home run. So he only made it through a third of an inning, gives up 4 runs on 3 hits. So tough outing for Adam Ottavino, who suffers the loss. As for the Dodgers, well, they rolled through a variety of guys. Paxton got the start, went 3 through 50 pitches, allowed just 2 hits on 3 Ks. Not exactly sure why they pulled him other than to get some rest and kind of make it into a modified bullpen day. But Yohan Ramirez followed, then Eliezer Hernandez kind of wet the bed a little bit. Michael Grove battled. Banda was good. Trinan was good. And Yarborough through 2 innings, allowing just 1 hit and 1 K. So other than Eliezer Hernandez, the bullpen did their job today, and that is also very nice to see. Manuel says, I didn't feel bad. Yeah, deep down I didn't either, really, but every now and then the cameraman does a good job of showing a baseball player's or an athlete's feeling written all over his face. And I could read a bunch of things on Adam Ottavino's face right there, because he was pissed, and rightfully so. This team battled, this team being the Mets, yesterday and today. The opener of the doubleheader, they led 2-0. The Dodgers rallied in the 8th and then won it in the 10th on the Freeman home run. And today they battled back to tie the game at 3. And then into the 8th inning, the Dodgers just open up a can on them. So that's just got to be frustrating as hell. You know, it's a tough one. Dodgers, though, dominated Citi Field. So I guess we should have kind of expected this coming into this series, 18-6, dating back to 2016 in Queens at Citi Field. So there's that's a good thing for them. And the fact is that it was definitely needed and welcomed. So it's what they needed to get back on track, and another day off tomorrow. A lot of this, really, they talked about it over and over again today. A lot of this stemmed from the rainout on Memorial Day. And I've said it over and over and joked about it before. When the Dodgers are going through bad streaks, it's a famous line from, or more than a line, it's actually a scene in Bull Durham where they fake the rainout because their team is going so poorly that they just need a day off to kind of recalibrate, just forget about baseball for the day, refocus, etc. And they talked about it, and Freddie Freeman referenced it specifically. That's exactly what happened on Monday. A surprise day off that they weren't expecting. And they were all, they're in New York City, of course. So they're able to go out, have a nice meal, kind of just decompress, relax, what have you. And it all worked out. I mean, I think that was a big thing for them. And ultimately, hopefully we can look back and in a month or so when we roll into let's say early July and say, all right, that day off on Memorial Day was huge, because since then we've been whatever, I don't know, 20-10 or something. Maybe that's even a little not good enough, but 25-5, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, that was nice to see. And the Dodgers have definitely righted the ship. Bats are going, and that's good as well. 10-3 the final here. Mookie Betts 0 for, Shohei Ohtani 2 for 3. We'll break down his day on the ticker, but he had that home run, and they even got into something that I've talked about here with you guys a lot, that right hip flying out, and they broke that down just the way that we have here. And they said it's one of the most amazing things about Shohei Ohtani, that he is able to do that, all of his weight going towards right field, and he still is able to hit the ball with authority, opposite field, left field, with power and miles per hour on the on the ball. So it's just not something that most baseball players are able to do. One of the other things that makes Shohei Ohtani quite remarkable. And he's doing all this dealing with a banged up hamstring, which, we saw him go 0 for during the doubleheader. He was like 2 for 20 something over the last 3 or 4 games. So it was nice to see him break out as well. Time to hit the first break. 10-3 the final today as the Dodgers have won 3 in a row, sweeping the Mets at Citi Field. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. All right, today's show brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience are what bring home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. Your hoopty, as I believe it's called by some people that are way cooler than me. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks. I've purchased roof racks on eBay Motors before and put it on my old beat up 2001 Ford Expedition, and it did a very, very good job until I went into a parking garage that said it was 9 feet. Turned out to be like 7.5 feet, and it got ripped off. So that was quite the bummer. I was very saddened by that. Exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much more. I've purchased brake kits frequently on eBay Motors because they are very, very reasonable. eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. And the other cool thing is you can put in the make and model of your car. So when you need to buy parts, you just go and it'll say, yes, this part works, or no, this part doesn't. And if it doesn't work, you can return it and get a refund. So that's cool as well. eBay Motors has you burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, Dodgers take care of business and wrap up the sweep today with a 10-3 win. Vargas and Rojas had a pretty nice day today. Again, Miggy Rojas going 4 for 5 to get his average up to 284. He made it on the Diamond Dogs list. And Miguel Vargas 1 for 3, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored. And one of them came up empty. So those nice at-bats were all precipitated by a battle that he had at the plate, a 9-pitch battle in the second inning that he was absolutely robbed by that umpire. I think his name's Valentine or something. He made 2 bad calls on that at-bat, and Vargas was battling his ass off, earned the walk on a ball that was a good 2 or 3 balls high, and the stupid frame job. Here's the frame job. I turned my hand down, and now it's a strike. It's not a strike here, but it's a strike here. Oh, I hate that. They should outlaw framing. I'm sorry. At the lower levels, fine. Not at the major league level. Or give me robot umpires. I'm sick of being jobbed out of a strike because the catcher has quick hands and can move the ball out to in. It's a strike or it's not. And the funny part about this is I didn't think I'd ever hear major leaguers talk about it. Like former major leaguers or current major leaguers. The current ones, not so much, but the announcers, Eric Karros and the like, they talk about it frequently now that robot umpires are closer than they were 5-6 years ago, right? Because Adrian Johnson says Jeff of Locked On Dodgers was the home plate umpire. Junior Valentine was umping on the bases. Okay. I heard the name and it stuck with me. So thanks, Jeff. But they talk about umpires being fallible. We get it, but we have the technology now to not have to worry about that. Let's have it be a strike or it's not. It's a strike or it's not, right? It's this. You can have humans on the bases. That's fine. We don't need robot umpires out there. But when it's a strike and they call it 2 or 3 inches out of the zone, a strike because the catcher is very adept at moving his glove at the exact right time. I know that's a skill and it's cool at the lower levels, right? College, fine, right? There are rules that are different across different levels of sports. We don't have to have the same rules. So the fact that a catcher can bring it down and trick the umpire into thinking that it's a strike is not what we're doing. It is a strike or it is not a strike. We know what the strike zone is. That catcher did it twice. Nitto. I mean, he's very good at it. He should be commended. Will Smith's pretty good, not quite that good. I think Austin Barnes is a little bit better at it, but ultimately, I don't like it at all. It's a strike or it's not. That's the bottom line. Robot umpires. When is it going to happen? How many more years do we have to wait and watch catchers frame jobbing stuff? I don't think the robot, the computer strike zone will fall for that. It will go through that square, that rectangle that we see on the screen. If it goes through them, strike. If it's on the outside, ball. I guess the question becomes if it's right on the line, the edge, the corners, as they call it. I guess, any part of the zone is a strike, right? It should be. That's the way it should be. That was tough. But kudos to Vargas. He deserves to be commended for that at bat. Definitely deserved the walk. Got jobbed on the strike 3 call, but did get the base hit and one walk, struck out twice. But another good game from him, and that's nice to see at the bottom of the lineup. His average 231, his slugging is 615, so that's fantastic, meaning his OPS is well over 800. Miggy Rojas has a 457 slugging percentage with that 284 batting average and a 333 on-base percentage. So all in all, up and down the lineup, Andy Pages chipped in with a hit and an RBI. That was nice to see. So let's get into the Diamond Dogs list here and go through the top 5 or 6 and then rehash the 8th inning again, because there was just so much offense to recognize today. For number 5, Will Smith, down and in, hit a 400-foot home run for his 8th of the season. It came on a 2-1 change. Got the scoring started for the Dodgers in the was that the second or the first? I think it was the second inning. Second inning, a 400-footer for Will Smith. His first home run of the game. Number 8 on the season. It came again on a 2-1 change, and it went 400 feet. So he definitely likes hitting in New York. Number 4, Miggy Rojas, a 2-out double to right, also in the second inning, coming not long after Will Smith there. For number 3, Will Smith, a leadoff double in the 4th inning. Again, it was down and in. That is a place that you do not want to throw a pitch to Will Smith right now, because he is locked in there. 5 of 7 hits for Will Smith have been homers. 5 of his last 7 have been home runs. Jeff's got a good point about Paxton's outing, which we'll get to right here after the Diamond Dogs list. For number 2, Andy Pages, that RBI single in the 4th, a fastball down, right down the pipe, and he took advantage of it. So he's still having problems with the fastball up, but he's got no problem with the fastball down, and he's able to make contact down there rather consistently. The big 12-6 breaker that drops down out of the zone, he's struggling with that, but he's definitely tightening up down the down part of the zone. I think his big launch angle swing is not quite the liability that it used to be a week or two ago. He's definitely evolving and growing and improving, which is nice to see from Andy Pages. And for number 1, Shohei Ohtani, the RBI single in the 5th inning to make it 3-0. It was 114 miles an hour. Honorable mention, of course, to Will Smith, the hang it and bang it, his second home run of the game, his 9th of the season. It came on a sweeper, and it went 404 feet. That one was a no-doubter, just right where he wanted it, right here where he was sitting. As I was writing, you hang it, we bang it. It came out of Eric Karros's mouth. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But Shohei Ohtani with the home run, a 2-run shot going opposite field. Stayed on it a little bit more than he has been of late. Struck out on one today that was up and in. That was an absolutely terrible pitch to swing at. It was a terrible swing. But, Shohei Ohtani has the leeway, I guess, to do that. But that home run that he hit 380 feet on a sinker to left center field was that typical thing that I have kind of complained about at times and marveled at the same time, because it just doesn't make any sense to baseball people when you watch Shohei Ohtani hit. Eric Karros referenced that he was talking about it with Mike Scioscia. And I don't believe Sosha was managing when Ohtani was in Anaheim, but maybe 1 year. I don't think so. I think Sosha had retired at that point. But obviously he's aware and probably around the club still on occasion. But he said, yeah, the fact that his right hip and his whole waist and everything flies out and goes to right field, it's like he should be pulling the ball. Like that swing, that rotation is of a pull hitter or a swing when you're trying to pull the ball. The fact that he can do all of that with his lower half and still launch home runs to right, left center field, shows you how good a hitter he is, and more than anything, how strong he is. Here is an update from Locked On Dodgers Jeff as to what was up with Paxton. Said he was told right after his last start that he'd be limited to 50 to 60 pitches this time, long-term play. He was fine with it. Yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately it only had me a little frustrated when the Dodgers were up 3-0 and they pulled him, or 2-0 at that point, I think. And then, the game was tied. I'm like, and they left him in there and didn't bring in, because really the only guy who kind of wet the bed today was Eliezer Hernandez. Did not get an out, gave up 3 runs on 2 hits, walked 1, and was just kind of a dumpster fire, especially with 2 strikes, which is not what you like to see. Opponents against Eliezer Hernandez with 2 strikes are 7 for 20. Bader, he had him 0-2, got a base hit. 1-2, Nitto hits the home run. And then I think the third guy that got on, he had him on 2 strikes as well. So that's just, I mean, I'm sure he's not trying to throw the ball over the plate with 2 strikes, but it's good to be aware of that. I'm assuming that they're making him aware of that, hey, when you've got 2 strikes, you've got to be a little bit more stingy. Fine. Do not paint or I'm sorry, paint more and do not groove. Do not throw balls over the plate when you've got 7 for 20. I mean, 2 strikes is a dominant position for a pitcher. You do not give up 7 of 20 hits. What is that? I'm not great with batting averages. 10 of 20 would be a 500 batting average. So that's probably a 350 batting average with 2 strikes. That's garbage. Come on, Hernandez. We need more out of you. But how about Yohan Ramirez? Fantastic performance. Dave Roberts, Daddy Dave, Daddy Doctor, came out there in his last outing, grabbed him around the neck, and, talked some sense into him, took him under his wing, helped him build his confidence, and it all worked out. You could see the smile on Ramirez's face when he got out of that inning. He went down and gave Dave Roberts a hug. That's just a good story right there. I mean, you guys that don't think Dave Roberts does anything except sit there and chew gum, let's revisit that story real quick right after the break. And more information from Locked On Jeff. Sosha managed Ohtani's first season. Okay, so they do have a little bit of history. Don't forget Jeff and Vince, Locked On Dodgers, coming on live on their YouTube channel here in about 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure you check them out as well. We'll hit the final break. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast. I come on right after the game and break it down for you. Dodgers with a 10-3 win. You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcast on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. All right, today's show also brought to you by FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and the NHL, down to the conference finals. Lots of interesting stuff going on there and definitely exciting. FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets on spreads, money lines, player props, and a whole lot more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com to look at the odds to include in your ad read. Okay, I'm not supposed to read that part. That is just for my own personal information. Again, check out FanDuel.com. You get a free $150 if you win your first bet. I had a nice win yesterday. I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it was a hockey parlay. It was some guy to, I don't even know who the guy was, to get 2.5 hits. I was like, that's interesting. He's probably going to get way more than I ended up getting like 5 hits. And then the Rangers goalie to make 25 or more saves. I think he made 35. So that was a comfortable, fun win for me. And winning is like so much better than losing. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, Dodgers with a 10-3 win, wrap up the sweep at Citi Field against the Mets. And they have a day off tomorrow, and they head home back to the Ravine to battle. Who are they battling? Kansas City? No, that's next week. Rockies. Well, that should be a walk for the Dodgers to keep things rolling. Rockies are struggling mightily. But today, a good win across the board. Yohan Ramirez, I thought, was fantastic. And I just really enjoyed seeing the excitement when he got out of that frame and went into the dugout. And Dave Roberts, you could tell, was excited. Everything about it was just really, really cool. And, a lot of people want to say that, Dave Roberts is a manager that follows the books too much. I say that all the time. I find the fact that, especially in the playoffs, he gets too locked in to the metrics of everything, and when they pull people out and when they don't. And honestly, we all thought, the fact that Steven Nelson and Eric Karros were like, well, that's it for him after he hit 2 guys and walked a guy to load the bases. Dave Roberts came out, grabbed him around the neck, and talked to him for it seemed like a minute. It probably was closer to 30 seconds, but it seemed to go on for quite a while. And they both commented that they've never seen anything like that before. We all thought at that point that that's it for him. And if you were the manager, you would have yanked him out of there too, right at that point. It's like, dude, this guy can't find the zone, and he's hitting people. And not only is it putting people on base, it's making us look bad. And there was, they made the reference to reading the room, because the Mets manager came out and talked to the umpire and was kind of like, hey, this guy just hit back-to-back guys. And Yohan was like tapping himself on the chest saying, that's on me. I'm sorry, basically. And then the very next pitch got out of it with a line drive fly ball to Jason Hernandez in right field. So, and then he comes out today, and I don't want to say he was dominant. It didn't strike out the side or anything, but got out of the frame, no problem. Gave up 1 hit, struck out 1. Michael Grove was good today as well. 1 inning, was in a jam for sure. Gave up a hit and a walk, got out of it though. It's nice to see. So I think that's a big thing. I think we get a little too confident and comfortable when the bullpen is cruising along, that they're just going to strike out the side. The fact is that it's not going to be that way all the time. And you want guys that can get in there and battle and get guys to pop up and get guys to ground out and get out of jams. And that is absolutely huge. Lopez, who got tossed out of the game, threw his glove into the stand. Craig says, Lopez, don't throw your glove in the stand. That's expensive and you might not have a job. I don't know about that. Not expensive for those guys. Rawlings hands those things out like chewing gum. So they're not paying for those gloves by any stretch of the imagination. But, cool Suvi for whoever grabbed it there. Final thing from Jeff here as he's sharing tons of stats and information before they do Locked On Dodgers. On the bright side, Eliezer Hernandez will be off the roster the next time we see this team. Quite possibly. Yeah, more than likely. I think you're right. But they're dealing with some injuries in the bullpen still. And I feel like it's time for some of these guys to come back, right? Maybe that's what he's talking about. Joe Kelly, Brazier, and Evan Phillips probably ready to go. So you're right, Jeff. Hopefully those guys will be back on the roster by Friday night when they face the Rockies over the weekend at the Ravine. All right, that'll do it for me today. Thank you for joining me here on a getaway day as the Dodgers beat the Mets 10-3 to wrap up the sweep. They're now 36-22, 17-11 on the road. The Mets fall to 22-33, 11-19 at home. Off day tomorrow, so we'll be back at it Friday night after a night game at Dodger Stadium against the Colorado Rockies. Let's see if they have the starter named yet. It will be Walker Buehler. Yeah, it's Buehler's turnaround. So that'll be good to see back at the Ravine there on Friday night. We'll talk to you afterwards. Enjoy the day off, and thank you for joining me here. We will talk again tomorrow. Don't forget, check out Jeff and Vince on Locked On Dodgers coming up here in just a little bit on their YouTube channel. Have a good night. We'll talk on Friday.